It's 6 p.m., so I think we should get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the Arizona Museum of Natural History for the first talk of the Tribe Speaker Series. And before we begin, we want to acknowledge that the city of Mesa is located on the traditional lands of the O'odham, known as Pima, and the Piposh, known as the Maricopa, and we offer our respects to honor their legacy and heritage. So the Thrive Speaker Series is part of the programming associated with our newest exhibit, which is not coincidentally called Thrive, the first people yesterday, today, and forever. And this exhibit basically addresses the environmental and human histories of the Sonoran Desert and its first peoples, not only through archaeological science, but also through the lived-in experiences and the traditional knowledge of the tribal members of the O'odham and Piposh communities. The exhibit is going to be open until August 17th, so if you guys haven't visited the exhibit, I invite you to go and explore it a little bit. After this talk, just a reminder that the museum is going to be open until 8 p.m. tonight, so there's plenty of time for you to go explore Thrive and the other exhibits in the museum. So we are really excited to have our first speaker of this series, but before, we want to thank our sponsors, Alliance Urgent Care and the National Bank of Arizona. And so tonight, we are honored to have Leland Thomas as our first invited speaker. Leland is a member of the Tohono O'odham Nation. He's Tohono O'odham and Akimel O'odham. He comes from the village of Checho Weco, aka Chuichu, and the Sif Oidak District, but currently resides in the Hanamkam, aka Casa Grande. He's an assistant curator and exhibits project manager at the Huhugam Heritage Center in the Gila River Indian Community. Leland has worked in exhibition design and development, collections management, cultural education, and as a museum interpreter. For many years, he has been continuously working in the field of cultural preservation within museum programs and is culturally involved within these O'odham communities. Tonight, he's going to be sharing a little bit about the cultural perspective of ties to the land and environment of the O'odham communities, and I invite you to welcome Leland.
Thank you, Ishmael. Skikudinik, Shapamasma, Panchugik Leland Thomas, Anya Huhugam Heritage Center, Anya Pamach Chuichu Weco, Sif Oidak District, t-hemajkam, Bahumacham Ki, Hanamkam, Anya apendagți, Huhugam Heritage. Good evening. As Ishmael said, my name is Leland Thomas. I am half Tohono O'odham and half Akimel O'odham. I do come from the village of Chuichu Weco, which is the most northern community of the Tohono O'odham Nation, which lies in the Sif Oidak District of the Tohono O'odham Nation. I am the Assistant Curator at the Huhugam Heritage Center and the Exhibit Project Manager. And I thank Ishmael for inviting me out to be the first one for this Thrive lecture, to kick it off for all the other lectures that will be here in representation to this exhibit. My exhibit, or my lecture title is called Mahasmasma Wood Ha'apenta Huktajud Hukumachkam. O'odham Ties to the Land. Again, just a little bit about me, but I wanted to talk about these two pictures here. These pictures are of what we call mo'achputwak. And in my community that I come from, this is an icon for us. It's Tabletop Mountain. And they say that we sit in the shadow of this. My village is called Chuichu, or Chiho, because of the cave mountain, Chihotwak, which sits just south of our village off of Route 15. And again, we have a lot of stories, a lot of representation for us as people from the village with this mountain. Before I start my lecture, I'm going to share that as I start to go, the majority of it is going to be through song, and to share that because it really ties this to the land, and I'll tie it all together at the end of my lecture. I will also share a song and then how we say it in O'odham and what it says. So kind of give you an example. In every beginning of what we do, there's always a song that tells us that it's going to start. And for us as O'odham, we always start in the evening. When the sun starts to go down, it's time that we start to sing. And when these songs are starting to be sung, it tells the people that it's time to come out. And so in this song that I'm gonna share with you this evening, it says "Kumsi itaiwa kakshakur ia imut." And it is that I sit down here and I start to run my rattle. Kumsi itaiwa kanyunya ishrashant mo konyait. And it is that I sit down here, the songs I will begin to sing, and you will see. Ian tam huk Huhugam inyai won't be hitchba. Here on top of me, the darkness with songs are braided. And so when the evening comes, it's saying, if you can picture that, these songs are coming in a line one after another like a braid, and they all mesh well together. Konya simona hiwa kshawa kata imuri chuta. Konya simona hiwa kanya shosho natuna. Hamu konya da ha iya da maya chuka. Kinye wawa we mami to pakai mum. Konya simona hiwa kshawa ta imuri chuta. Kumsiap taiwa kshakar a imut. And it is that I sit down here and I start to run my rattle. Konya simona hiwa kanya shosho natuna. Hamu konya dam. Kumsiap taiwa kanya shoshanch. Mo konyait. Iya da maya chuka kinya wawa we mamito pakai mum. Ian tam huk Huhugam inyai won't be hitchba. Here on top of me, the darkness with songs are braided. Konya simona hiwa kshawa kata imuri chuta. Konya simona hiwa kanya shosho nachuna. Hamu konya da ha iya da maya chuka. Kinye wawa we mamito pakai mum. And so in reference to the song, it's saying I'm starting these songs. And here tonight, I start this lecture. Now, you guys have to know what this is and where this place is at. One major tie to us as O'odham is this place. Something that's tangible from our creation story, a place that you can visit that in our stories tells us what this is, the Sivanyawaki, or this great house. And growing up, I was always told about this house. I had never been there, and I have a lot of respect for this place because it's where I started my career in museums. And the first time I went there was when I went to my interview for the job. And again, because my elder, especially my grandmother, shared with me about the story about this place, and I heard the view or the perspective from my grandma, which comes from a village called Kokomochkuk, or Palaverdi Stand. And my other grandma is from Uskuk, or Strukumashu, or Blackwater in the Gila River Indian Community. The different perspectives, and it just depended on where you lived. And a lot of stories, a lot of things come out of this place for us. A lot of things are in this house. They have the summer solstice alignment. They have the equinox. And this place has been there and is still standing today. And again, a major tie, something tangible to our creation story, to us as who created us. The people who used to live there, archaeologically, they're known as the Huhugam, this culture. To us, we call it Huhugam or Huhugam. And my grandma would always tell us, Checho Weco. Those are still us, they're just not here anymore. And so, like I said, there's a lot of stories, a lot of things that have came out of this place. A major tie to us as a people. And a lot of songs that I learned about this place while I was working there. My family had shared with me many things and many songs, whether they were for ceremony use, for social, or just to go and sing to the house itself. And this song that I'm going to share, it talks about this house and this eagle. So we have the eagle or the bog up in the corner. And it says, Sibanyawaki, Hujut Kuwush. The great house is emerging by itself. Gumsi Nyuitam, Amawihim, Nyuit. I wanted to see it, so I went towards it and I saw. The bog, Daiwush, Kuksikodim. Inside the eagle bird came out and it was circling. Siwani wawaki honyuri hikawushan. Siwani wawaki honyuri hikawushan. Konyo hasinye na mo gamo we wohimo gamo nyida. Nanya bahana yo henganai wo nye. Si kore madam. Siwani wawaki honyore hikawushan. Siwani waki hujurkawush. Siwani wawaki honyore hikawushan. Siwani waki hujurkawush. Konyo asinyo na mo gamo we wo himo gamo nye idam. Come sing nye itam. I'm away hin. I'm nye. Good nanya bahana yo henganaya wo nye. Good si kore madam. Good the bog uwak. Da ewush sikorim. Siwani wawaki honyore hikawushan. Siwani wawaki honyore hikawushan. Konyo wasinye na mo gamo we wo himo gamo nye ida. Good nanya bahana yo henganai wo nye. Si kore madam. Every morning, when I was working there, I was told to go out and greet it because these people, this energy of who we are is still there, and so we did, and I did, and I would sing to it, and when I gave my tour there, I always ended with the song about the ruins. And thankfully, one of my relatives, the late Simon Lopez, actually shared with me a couple of songs. One of them talking about this place and the Hashan or the cactus. And so, again, a place that is tangible that we can see and go visit, that has deep meaning to us as a people. The coyote or tapan. And in a lot of references, he's referred to as Goma Gomergam, great elder brother. And this picture here, as he's howling, he's in all of our stories, he was part of the one who helped create us. Again, ties to us in our creation stories, who helped Gilbert Maka and helped Ietoi, helped create us as a people, or the many people that they created. And he's very mischievous as in all of our stories or our legends, and but he's also a messenger. He's also somebody who can be called upon when needed. And so they say that every morning that you're able to hear him howl. And so in this song or in this story, it talks about him. Gomak Womargam, great elder brother. Sierra Kukiwa Samaj. In the morning he stands and he knows. Ka'uda amo wish Gamo Mawahink. He comes out and he howls. Kokoma Hakimel Sierra Kuki Hikiwasi Mama Chud. Good Damatai Wonya Hinyuanya Hinaka Kokoma Hakiwamakar Kokoma Gwomergam Sierra Cookie Hikiwasi Mama Chum Sierra Cookie was much. Good Damatai Wonya Hinyuanya Hinaka Good Amontai Wush Gamomawo Hink. He comes out and he howls. Kokoma Hakiwamakar Sierra Cookie Hikiwasi Mama Che Good Damatai Wonyo Hinyuanya Hinaka. And as I say, he's one of the individuals that came out when we were being created. And our creator gave everybody a song. And so his howl is his own song. So Bon, a really good entity or individual for us. Many stories, they always say, don't be like Bon, don't be like Coyote. And it's a teaching lesson. There's always a moral in our stories that are told. From animals to insects. This is a grasshopper, a soho. And we have a lot of references to insects playing, making a sound or representing something. And in this song, it talks about the noise that they make. And it's from their wings. And sometimes they say it's from them rubbing their legs together. I don't know if you can see it on his legs. They have those little, look like little hairs that stick out. But we have an instrument that we use called a rasp and a hifkut, and as we say in O'odham. And it makes a sound when it's rubbed together. So one side is notched and the other side is soft. And so you rub them together, it makes a sound. And they say that this grasshopper was sitting there rubbing his legs together, making the sound of the rasping stick. And so Ari Swam Soho, little yellow grasshopper, Hudrakakyo Hifkut, with his own legs he uses for a rasping stick. Itam, here he sings. Tamkacham Pasho Nyui, up against the sky he sings. Sapo Gaitam Yahit. Good sounds or good singing he makes with his rasping. Are si wahamo shoy huturi kachowa we konachi anyuda tamai wukachima basho nyuda sapo wukakai tama hiya he would Hare Siwa Hamo Shoy. Adi Swam Shoy. Little yellow grasshopper. Hujurika Choa we Kona Chia Nyudam. Hujurika Kyo Hifkat. Jinyidam. Tamai wuka chima basho nyudam. Tam kacham basho nye. Up against the sky he sings. Sapo wuka kaitam hiya he wuda. Sapo kaitam ahit. Good sounds he makes with his rasping. From animals to water, we as Akimel O'odham or river people, water is a vital source to us and actually is a vital source to all of them. And again, in the creation of the world, there was all of these rivers that were, all of these valleys that were created. And to flow, these rivers dug out these valleys. And river is a giver and a taker of life, or the water actually. And so this is the Chuichu Weco, or the Verde River. Long time ago when the people prehistorically used to live here, had all these rivers that were flowing up into historic times. And it's only us that are here that see these rivers as dry beds or washes. And this song talks about the Chuichu Weco, and it says, Chuichu Weco gunam tam him, the Verde River on top by gold. Moko and Yawanyamut, far away it leads me. Chuichu Weco gunam tam him, on top of the Verde River I go. Chudaki akimura kunya damo mahimana. Chudaki akimura kunya damo mahimana. Mukonyu muda. Chudaki akimura kunya damo mahimana. Chudaki akimura kunya damo mahimana. Chuichu Weco gunam tam him. On the Verde River on top by go. Chudaki akimura kunya damo mahimana. Chuichu Weco gunam tam him. The Verde River on top by go. Mukonyu muda. Mukonyu mud. Far away it leads me. Chudaki akimura kunya damo mahimana. Chuichu Weco gunam tam him. The Verde River on top by go. And some of our songs have lessons, and this one of the lessons that I was told in about songs about rivers and or waters is that when you touch the river in one place, you can never touch that same water again. In life, things that happened yesterday, you can never go back to. The river flows and it finds its way where it needs to go. And it was told to me that you will find your way by the mistakes that you made. And it's a lesson, it's a learn. And so again, nature has a way of showing and sharing with us who we are as a people and what we need to do. From the rivers to the ocean, they say all rivers find their way to the ocean. The ocean for us, the God or Chuichu or this ocean, these bodies of water have a huge significance to us as a people. Although the oceans are far from us here, we know that prehistorically that the people had traveled to the oceans by all of these archaeological sites that have shells and what they did with these shells, but also with salt. Historically, we also did the same thing, traveled to the ocean to gather shells, to gather sea salt, but also to pray. Like I said, water has a huge effect on us because it's a giver and taker of life. The ocean has a huge effect as well. All of the animals that live in the ocean are still, they say that they're still us. That when we had these floods, that those who got washed away or those who wanted to stay in the water became those animals. And so the water houses those relatives of ours. This song about the Gach or the Goma Gombergam, again, the coyote has a lot of reference, and it tells us a lot of things when we see it, and it notifies us, or it lets us know things. And so that song just says, "Makachka hugitan," beside the ocean. "Kachka hugitan him," beside the ocean, I'm walking. Goma Gombergam, Ano Nyunyapait him. Great partner is ahead of me walking. Kiko am hing, kahukich, inot. 4 times he yells, and it is then I have to turn around and go back. Kache mayung ye dana, kache mayung ye dano himadam. Koma ki woma kar igam hunyabame chu himadam. Kini ko homahina ke kunikaya kamino nakum. Kachem yuni dana. Gosh, kukitan beside the ocean. Kachem yungi tano himadam. Gosh, kukitan him. Beside the ocean, I'm walking. Koma kiwoma kar igam hunyabame chu himadam. Koma gwumurgam. Ganun in him. Great partner is over there ahead walking. Kini ko homahi naku ko nekya kamino naku. Kiko amahing kun hookage inot. 4 times he yells, and then I turn around and go back. Kache mayungi tana, kache mayungi tano himada. Koma kiwoma kar igam hunyaba me chuhu himada. Kini ko homahina ke kunikya ka kamino naku. And so the ocean we send a lot of prayers to the ocean, and every time I travel to the ocean, I always stand in the water and sing, but I always bless myself with it, thinking it, because it is the ocean who helps bring the clouds. I like to say that nature talks to us in everywhere that we go. And so this song talks about the weepersmut, or the hummingbirds, and the Huhugam, the butterflies. And so this song really just talks about that in the corners of the land, that here he did sing, and they say that this man that they're talking about, he went all over this place, and these things started to pop out at him. So like nature showed itself to him, the environment, and it says "Jowa Joritam, Ia Nyui." So here upon the earths, or the land's corners, the corners of the land, here he did sing. Waskosi Whippersmurtak. And all of this, all over it had hummingbirds, the hummingbird land. Sibanyamakai Ia Wanyui. The Sibanyamakai, here he did sing. Wusko, si Huhugam Heritage. Here, the land, all over the land, it had these butterflies. Chuvuna churi kudamai wa iya wa hiya wanyuda wusiko shawe pe simrika siwanyi maka wa iya wa hiya wanyuda wusiko shayo hokimrika Chuvuna churi kudamai wa iya wanyuda Chuwa churitam iya wanyui. The corners of the land, here he did sing. Wusiko shawe pe simrika Wusko se wipersmurtak. Siwan, all over the land, all over was hummingbirds. Siwani maka wa iya wanyudam. Sivanyamakai, iya wanyui. The Sivanyamakai did sing here. Wusiko shayo hokimarika. All over the land, the butterflies. Chuvuna churi kudamai wa iya wanyudam Wusiko shawe pe simrika Siwanyi makai wa iya wanyuda Wusiko shayo hokimarika. When I put this presentation together, I tied it to this exhibit. And if you haven't seen the exhibit, I encourage you to go and see it because it's oral. It's a lot of sharing from the people. All of these stories and all of these songs tie us to here, to this place. They say that we have been here since time immemorial. I did the presentation in the song base because in everything, especially our creation story, there was always a song that talked about what was happening, what was going on, what the creator did, what the animals did. And when he was putting it all together, there was always a song for everything. And he gave all the animals and the majority of the insects songs. And the butterflies, he didn't give a song to. They don't make a sound. And he says that because they don't, he fell asleep. But he wanted to create something that when it grew older, it didn't look old. So when a caterpillar metamorphoses into a butterfly, it becomes really beautiful. And so again, there's a lot of stories that tie us to this place. And so I wanted to do this presentation in that sense, that all of this has a meaning, it has a purpose. And us, if it wasn't for everything that has happened prehistorically or Hukyo, long time ago, to the past, to now, I wouldn't be here to share this story with you. I wouldn't be here to share the perspective that the things I was taught by my kukur, my family. And to tell you that we are tied to this land. We have a big circle, as they say, that circle of life. Because when we go, we still go back to the land. And we still share, we still talk. There's still songs that are sung. And as a singer or a Nyu'idam, they say that we had a song for just about everything. Song for all of the elements, even the sun, the stars, and the moon. Songs for the wind, songs for all the insects, songs for the sick, songs for planting, songs for harvesting, songs to ask for things. And so I put this in this sense that song was always a part of us as well as our language. Our language is always who makes a people the people, makes the culture who they are. My grandmother always spoke O'odham, and she spoke Spanish. But she always told us that she really didn't teach us because of the things that were changing during her time. And still yet, all the things that happened in the past, we still endured. We still prevailed. We're a people who have went through so much in our history. And again, like I said, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of that. To help tell the story, to help share my understanding. And so I share that with you guys this evening. And again, it ties us all together, us as a people. And the first slide that I have put, and even all of the little the wordings that I put, this isn't who we are. We're a verbal person. We're an oral people. This is more of a modern day thing, and it's something that it does help people. It does help people learn the language. It does help people learn how to write it. But it's hearing it, constantly immersed in it, that helps us. And so I write it using different orthographies, but it's just to show that, just for you to see what I'm saying and experience it as well. I do thank you for the time to come and share with you and talk with you and to give my perspective and how we are tied to this place, how we are tied to this whole area, from the northern part of Mexico all the way up to Flagstaff, from the Colorado River all the way to the San Pedro. Those are our traditional homelands. And we've been here and we're still here. And so again, I thank you. Sapa.
Well, thank you, Leland. I feel really honored that you shared with us that traditional knowledge and the songs with our audience. So we have about 15 minutes for questions and comments. If anyone wants to ask anything for presenter right now, this is your chance.
I have like 3 questions, but I'll
Sure.
do one at a time. You talked about how the coyote participated in creation. What did he do? What was his role in creation?
Some in our stories is he was supposed to help create the people. As I said, he was a mischievous person. He was kind of rambunctious. He didn't do it right. So he just kind of did his own thing. And so again, there's that teaching of not to be like Coyote. I give you a task to do, and you're supposed to do it in the sense that I share with you. But he went and did his own thing. So
If there are any others, I'll do my second question. The Lucky Casa Grande, you said that it emerged. Did it emerge fully formed, or did it emerge like spiritually and then they built it?
just in the song, it talks about it emerging, but it was constructed, and so that was one of several that were along the Gila and along the Salt, and even in the Phoenix Valley here. All of these with the Kawapakis and the Sisiuans, those higher individuals that lived there, or the person that lived there that ruled these communities, as they say, they were a lot either at the head of a canal system or at the end of a canal system. And so, again, I was the only one that's still standing today. They say it was constructed around about 1300, 1250, 1300, and was abandoned around 450. So I do know that I do remember seeing in my line of work remnants of the one that used to be on Van Buren Street, which was associated with the Sadovaki Museum. And then all of the mountains here, all of the platform mountains, also in representation of those villages.
Last one. the dog speaks to you, you turn to stone. What's the moral in that story?
So just again, as my perspective, as I was told, my grandma would always say, we talk to our animals. We talk to our animals like they're human. You see some of the dogs on videos where they kind of sound like they're talking back to you. So they always say, don't encourage them, but we do get mad at them because they will talk back to you. But again, my dog has never talked to me. They listen, then they don't listen. But yeah.
We have a lot of those.
You sing so well. Who taught you to sing, or did you just learn with the people around you?
I come from a long line of singers. I started singing when I was in Head Start. But as growing up, being a teenager, I kind of strayed away from it. But when I started working at the Casa Grande ruins, I got more in depth in my culture, more in depth to listen to my elders, and to hear those stories and to hear what they have to say and to tell us. And so I do sing traditionally with a basket dance group. And even with them, we still teach them. We still teach them that we're not doing anything new. I still teach individuals as well to learn these songs. I want to say I probably know maybe almost 1,000 songs. It seems like they come and go sometimes. And a lot of my family teaches me as well. And I'm really grateful for that I have somebody in my family that I can say, well, my aunt taught me this or my uncle taught me this, because it passes it down.
I'm just wondering about the language. Do many people still speak the language, or is it something that's still taught, or is it hard to keep it?
There's a lot of people that still speak the language. Because of modernicity, like I said, my grandma didn't really teach us. And she always said that during her time, because she grew up in the boarding school area, that time where the language wasn't spoken, and so she was really reluctant to teach, to keep it going. My dad, he was fluent. He had to learn English, and even now he still speaks broken English. But he always said that his grandfather would always tell him it's going to come back around, and when they try to learn it again, it's not going to be the same. Any evolution in language always evolves, and I always see that in my son. My son, he's 16, soon to be 17. He's fluent, and we always laugh because our dialects are different. Our dialects are different, and we make fun of how we talk to each other. But I've actually seen him play with kids when he was younger and call things different things, and I couldn't figure out why he was calling it that. But our language is really descriptive. It's not literal. And so like in all of these songs, it's just descriptive, and somebody could hear the language and interpret it in different ways because of however it translates in their head. And so there's classes that are being taught to try to revitalize the language, especially in those areas that are not fluent. And it's really good for them. And like I said, using the orthography of various individuals who study the language, but try to bring it back and make it his own. I don't think there's a wrong or right way to write anything, because you can hear it phonetically and you can write it down and you'll be the one to read it. So you're creating your own orthography, but it's how you say it and how it is said and how it is being brought out. It's still right. I don't think there's a wrong or right way of saying it, anything either, or saying it in our language. So.
You talk about the term Huhugam, and so I did some looking into that for something else, but it came out like the term came from the 30s, and it was an excavation in St. Town. But it almost depicts like another civilization was here, and it erases the O'odham. So there's no past or present for the O'odham. We're here for a while, and they disappeared. And so I'm really glad for the presentation you're doing and for the work we're doing here because we've always been here. We've always been here. And in fact, I don't know how that even happened, but somebody asked me, like, why didn't you guys say anything? And I'm like, in the 30s and the 40s, we didn't even know how to speak English. We didn't know how to read or write. The boarding schools were happening. The displacement was happening. So we moved to other cities, things like that. So, yeah, I don't know. So, but so I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. And, but I just wanted to get your take on that term, because it's almost like a different civilization is here.
Definitely. When I got into this realm of work, that was one of the things that was posed was the Huhugam, and I didn't understand the term or what it meant until I started talking with more elders, and they were like, "No, it's Huhugam," and it's not even that; it's just Huhugam because they were or Huhugam that it's not there. They were just trying to say they weren't there, and they took that term and anglicized it. And so they started to just use that as a term for that culture, not as a people. And I think that's where the confusion is. But I was asked posed that question too. Well, are you guys related to them? Are you guys descendants of them? Or how does that go? And I laugh because I'm like, well, we are them. It's just like two generations of people. My brother is 6 years older than I am. And we have the same mother and father. We have the same creator. We were just emerged at different times. And so I still say that we are those people. Those people are O'odham. There's just, Huhugam, they're not. They're way back then. And those Huhugam O'odham, they're not here no more.
Are there any resources on the language or ways to learn about the language?
There's a lot of anthropologists and linguists who have did extensive research on the language. There's, I want to say, like 6 references that I've came across to orthographies for the language, like the Saxon, Alvarez Hale, one linguist from the University of Arizona, and the Dr. Filia Cepeda actually did a grammar book. And she put it in a sense of how you speak grammatically correct. Like Spanish, it's kind of backwards. And again, you could use one word for multiple things, and it just depends on how you say it. And so in my introduction, I use mashtimukud, and a lot of people know that as school. Where we work at, or like here, the museum, it's a place of learning. And so that to me, that's what it is. It's a place of learning. And so words could mean just about anything, depending on how you use it. But those are some good references.
I have one question. Can you share with us a little more about where we can learn more about traditional knowledge and history of the indigenous peoples of Arizona from an indigenous perspective? For example, the Huhugam Heritage Center.
So there are 4 tribes, and we're only separated by governmental boundaries. We're all the same people. And so there's the Salt River in Pima Maricopa Indian Community, which is north of us here. We have the Gila River Indian Community, which is just south of us, and then the Akimel Indian Community, and also the Tohono O'odham Nation. All 4 reservations have a culture center or a museum where you can learn about it. Our museum, especially when we were creating the exhibit, we wanted to give the first-person perspective. We stepped back from the anthropological and the archaeological views, and we gave the community a chance to voice how they wanted to be represented and who they wanted to, and how they wanted to be told of who they are. And so our motto or our thing was that we catered to the community first. And so we wanted our elders to be able to to share with the community these different things that we have in our museum. So you'll see a lot of quotes in our museum from our elders and from youth as well. And you'll see a lot of artifacts that were objects or objects of memory, or cultural memory, that were used. And we also implement it with these archaeological objects. artifacts because it's the same type of material, it's the same type of method. We wanted to show the continuum from past to present, or past to history to present, and so we wanted to display that in our museum. So, and then the museum for Salt River is the t-hemajkam. Auction is the Auction Equal t-hemajkam Museum, and Tohono O'odham Nation is that's the t-hemajkam. This is the whole Huhugam Salt River's Huhugam. So again, the language is all the same with us, but Salt River and Gila River have Peeposh, which was a culture or a tribe that migrated here in the 1700s and took refuge among us because of internal fighting or conflicts within their tribes. So those are places you can go.
You worked at Casa Grande for a while?
Yes.
Does anybody ever go inside?
They do let people go inside. When I was there, they let people see the solstice alignment and also the equinox alignment. On various occasions, they do open the great house to view. It was really awing to go in because it's so cool, especially in the summer. And I grew up in a mud house, and so I know what it feels like. And so it just gave me that reminiscence of that childhood. So.
Any other questions? If there are no other questions, I just want to remind you that there's 2 archaeological sites open to the public. One of them is Akimel O'odham, which is only about a mile north from the museum. That's open to the public during the fall and the winter. Unfortunately, it's closed right now, but that's another resource that you guys have to learn a little more about the native peoples of Arizona. And there's also the Museum of Sadabaki, formerly known as Pueblo Grande, which is another archaeological site where you can also learn a little bit about the native cultures of Arizona and their continuum with the modern O'odham and Peeposh communities of central and southern Arizona. Thank you again, Leland. That was really, really fantastic. I invite you guys to go and explore the Thrive exhibit. And we're going to have our second talk on June 18, again from 6 to 7. Dr. Christopher Castleton from the Arizona State University is going to be our invited speaker. And thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again. Thank you, Leland. That was good.